So thank you all for coming tonight. It's very exciting, and to all of our mob on the panel and helping with the stars of the show there. I'll just like to... my name's Vicki Couzens and I'm a Keerray Woorroong Gunditjmara person, and I was the one who had the crazy idea to bring everyone together, and they all came. It's wonderful. So I'd like to acknowledge country, the Kulin Nations, the Wurundjeri and the Bunurong lands where we all live on unceded territories, to the elders, past and present, and those coming into the fray, into the world as we know it and into the world as we want to talk about tonight, how we would like for that world to be into the future. I want to pay respects to the elders and ancestors of these lands, and to honour my ancestors who carry me in my life's journey, and to all the mob here who have brought their love and their ancestors with them here tonight in this space of sharing. We're here by choice, as an offering. We're not here to be on display, as so much of our work and our peoples have been over time, but we felt a need to come and to share and to offer that to those who have ears and hearts that are listening, which I'm making an assumption is why you're all here. Oh no, it's still on. So I want to, I've thanked you all for being here, and I really want to thank Simon, who is up the back there, who makes all things work, microphones and things, and has been wonderful, and Lisa, also up the back there, and the team at the Design Hub Gallery, which is where we are tonight, having this gathering. And to the panel, I'll start with the man in the middle, Mr. Robert Bundle, Yaraan Bundle songman, and healer and keeper of stories. And Mr. Daryn McKenny there on his right. They're going to tell you a little bit more about themselves when we get to hear their stories. Gamilaroi Wiradjuri person living on Awabakal country. And then there's Ray Cooper, who's sitting on Darren's right, come all the way from Karratha to share their story and the fight that they're right on the coalface right now, in court tomorrow, amongst other things. And then we have Jack Pascoe on the end, a Yuin man, who's also... All of the panellists tonight have different ways that they're working and contributing in caring and healing and looking after our country and our ancestors. And last but not least, Yaraan Bundle, our daughter, our number 2 daughter and the mother of the beautiful babies here. And Josie, I'd like to acknowledge Josie, Alec, also from Karratha, Ray's mum, and a sister in the fight. Babysitter extraordinaire. Absolutely. Very, very important. So Yaraan is part of the main reason as a catalyst for myself to accept the kind invitation from the Wild Hope Curatorium, who is Naomi Stead, Katrina Simon, Wendy Steele and Fleur Watson, who invited me to be part of Wild Hope, Planetary Conversations for Planetary Commons. And I'm like, yes, I'm in. Count me in, because I think it's very important. But it was an opportunity to bring those stories and that sharing of what we're doing as First Nations people in this space of planetary commons and how we live that and breathe that every day. So, planetary commons, I don't know if you've ever really thought about it that much. And I thought, oh yeah, that sounds great, and I think I know what it means, and in my head I do, but if you were to ask me to articulate it, I had to go and, actually I thought I'd better look up a definition. What is planetary commons? You know, what are people thinking that it is? And so I got a definition off the internet and found a group who are exploring this, and planetary commons is a conversation that's apparently going on out there in the globe, because I'm not very much online, so it could be happening everywhere and I've just caught on or something, but I don't watch the news or do much of that stuff, so I have to wait for Rob to tell me what's going on. Anyway, it's a call to recognise Earth's biophysical systems that provide Earth system resilience and stability as planetary commons. So it's about our, you know, collective responsibility to look after the oceans, the atmosphere, the wetlands. Everybody's nodding. Oh, okay. Everybody knows what it means. That's good, because that's why we're here to talk about. That's why we're here to talk about those things, and to hear how First Nations people have been carrying that, and since the first light and the first sound from time immemorial. Our knowledge is this unquantifiable body of knowledge, and we are the vessels who are carrying that, and there are the youngest ones there, our next whale dreamers. All right, enough from me. I'm going to, if Yaran's feeling okay and ready, I'm going to throw to Yaraan first to tell us a bit about her story and the Southern Ocean Protection Embassy Collective. Worry. She likes brr sounds. That Yaraan has established, and the story and the fight that we're having around seismic testing. Yaraan, just introduce yourself a little bit, background, and then have a yarn about your story.
Okay. Nyata, hello everyone. I'd just like to start by paying my respects to the Woiwurrung and Bumwurrung speaking peoples on country where we are, and pay my respects to my elders present, past and future, and everyone else. Thank you for coming. This means a lot to me and my family, and in the greater fight to save and protect country, it's brought me to the sea country, and the reason that we are who we are today is because of this whale dreaming connection and story song that is now living inside us again. It's this living knowledge. It was sleeping, and now it's reawakened again with us, and bringing back that dance and story song, that my old people and our old people collectively have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And as Mum touched on, that deep time that is really, really significant, but sometimes hard to imagine and measure in the time, in our clocks and the time that we have now. So, thank you for all coming. And I'm a creative director of SOPEC, which is Southern Ocean Protection Embassy Collective, and it's something that started a few years ago in protection of the Koontapool Narakitung, our whale family, but all of sea country and the interconnectedness that we have with our whole land, sky and sea, and also all of the other saltwater peoples that are connected to us around the land of the rainbow serpent. Around this controversial time, I stopped doing Welcome to Countries, and I don't acknowledge this land as Australia until we have a place, our true place of birthright and belonging on this country. So that's just something for everyone to think about. So yeah, the SOPEC journey is something that's really important to my family and our Gunditjmara side of the family, but also our Yuan side of the family, which is my dad's side. And we're connected to the Koontapool, which is the southern right whale, but we're also connected to Bia, the orca, the killer whales. And so that's really something, that we're immensely proud of, and so we're sharing in places like this and panels like this where we can share with you part of that knowledge. We have to keep the sacred, but we would love to share that connection and help everyone realise that everyone has a place of belonging into the future, into this collective story. So yeah, it's really important that first and foremost we understand our whale songline and our whale dreaming, our connection to our sea country kin as of utmost importance in our whole living and survival where we are today on country and around the world. And I'd just like to acknowledge my Moana family that is connected to us through the saltwater, and all of those other nations around the globe that are connected to the whale dreaming as well. So it's actually a global story of significance, but we're just here to share a bit of insight about our connection and how everybody can come and be part of that, take their place of belonging in that story, and help us protect country and protect our sea country kin. And yeah.
My name is Yaraan Bundle, and I represent SOPEC, Southern Ocean Protection Embassy Collective. A powerful birthright collective from Gunditjmara country, held up by the family clans whose blood belongs to this old country. Koontapool is our Gunditjmara word for southern right whale. Koontapool Yakanich, whale dreaming, is part of where the Gunditjmara people come from. They are our ocean ancestors. They are our Narakitung, our family. SOPEC, we say absolutely no. No seismic blasting on our whale songline country. No natural gas extraction. No new gas in the Otway Basin. No new gas across Gunditjmara country. Gunditjmara Gunditjmara. We say no. Please support SOPEC. Our website and membership will be coming soon. Please follow us on Facebook and keep your eyes and ears and your senses open to support the Gunditjmara in the revival and protection of our sacred country. Dru.
We tend to get a bit fired up when we're home on country and we're at these beautiful women's sites along the coast, and we're right there in the midst of what we're fighting for. So it's really important to be able to share part of that, and part of that fire that's in our bellies that we have, that's never going to go out as long as the sun keeps rising, will keep coming. Like the waves of the ocean, that is a promise of our blood.
Do you want to just quickly mention the seismic testing and the things we're fighting, taking action against currently in the Otway Basin?
Yeah, so our whole sea country is under attack by international gas companies looking to seismic blast. We don't say seismic testing because it's actually blasting it's sound blasting into the ocean, and it's blasting all the way down under the ocean floor, and it's affecting every single life form in the ocean. So from the tiny little zooplanktons right up to Woolock, the blue whale. And, you know, them two in particular are part of the foundations of the ocean. So we just think, you know, it's madness when we're meant to be transitioning to renewables, and here we have our state and federal government, our state governments getting royalties off these gas wells and these new gas wells. And, you know, the consultation process seems to be corrupted and seems to be, you know, they're not actually hearing us and listening to our old knowledge systems that we know are solutions for country. We're not just saying, look, we own the whole ocean. We're saying this is how we protect it, and you need to listen to us because our old people have protected it for thousands and thousands of years. It's always sustained us because we never had just a take relationship with it. We always had a reciprocal relationship. We were always giving back to our country, not just extracting from it. So, you know, these international gas companies, it's like something crazy like 55 million hectares of sea country that they want a seismic blast, and they're putting at risk not only our connection and our human right to practice our culture, but they're risking the fishing industries and the tourism industries and everyone else who is connected to the ocean along the coast. And so we're trying hard to, you know, make people aware the scale of what they want to do and how it will actually affect everybody. And so one of our most sacred songlines goes all the way across and through and under and over and interconnected to this whole land, sky and sea is the Rainbow Serpent songline. So just to say about, you know, the significance of that, the whale songline also goes all over and under and around and connected east to west, north to south, and then extends around the globe as well in different stories. For example, the Seven Sisters story that goes to many other nations all around the world, and it connects to part of our most sacred business. So the whale songline and the whale dreaming, we're trying to keep that protected and keep that sacred, you know, for all of our future whale dreamers and our actual existence. So that includes your existence as well, you know, so it's really significant that we get support to stop this seismic blasting, and same with Sister Girls Country on the West Coast. You know, it's just ridiculous what they're doing, but we also have a fight against some of which I'm all for green energy, but we have a fight against these giant wind farms in the ocean as well. And our whole country, our whole coastline, Gunditjmara coastline, has been earmarked for industrialisation of the gas wells and the giant wind farms. So we need to really band together and protect what we have left. Gunditjmara country is one of the last birthing grounds in so-called Victorian waters for Koontapool, the southern right whale, and these other birthing places that are along our coastline in different places where they only go to birth and they only go to calve. So once they start these projects and they start their seismic blasting, we don't think the Koontapool will come back. We don't think that we'll be honoured with their connection and their birth, their sacred creation business of bringing their new family members into the world. we don't think that the state and federal government or any international person, company, corporation that actually doesn't pay any tax, that has the right to destroy that. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah. Yes, I think we're on the brink, and the Planetary Commons conversation can't happen too soon. And thank you, Yaraan. Daryn, I'm going to throw to you now to share your story. And this imagery you're seeing is some of Darren's work, and he's hands-on caring amongst many of his other talents, running a national language conference every 2 years as well, which he's just finished in August and had a week off.
Biggest in the world.
Biggest in the world. Yes, it is. Yes. Woo!
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation to be here. Thank you for coming on and listening to us. But more importantly, I want to thank our whales. They've given me permission to capture what I can share with you tonight, some of these moments, whether it be images like this, which I'm going to show you in video in a moment, or it's even their voice. Because they're in a position where they can't share. They can't share with the wider world. So one of the things that I like to do is to maybe take on that role to help get that across, but to get it across from an Aboriginal perspective. Me as an Aboriginal fella of mixed blood, Gomeroi, Wiradjuri, born on a Wabakal, and I don't know where my mum comes from, but I look like my mum. And we've got to play our part, and all of us here putting voice to what we're going to share with you tonight is all a part which we're all going to play in the uniqueness between us as individuals. But like I said, these are the ones who give me permission. So I've got to talk through a couple of these. But what I'd like to just start off by saying is I come from a perspective of I put hydrophones underwater, so that's how I'm going to hear them. Their song, they are the, some of these that I'm referring to are our humpbacks. Barrabacan, our ocean creator up my way. They're our oldest singers. They're the ones who have brought song to us. Our people have heard that. Their songs travel hundreds of kilometres. The blue whale, their sounds, their voice, they're not sounds, their voice can travel thousands of kilometres. So when we hear the impacts of what can actually happen by just one little boom, it's unbelievable. Their ears are extremely sensitive. Sound travels further underwater than anywhere. I use hydrophones to record them, to hear what they're saying. It's not just song, it's not poetry. It's conversation. It's their traditions and their life. It's what they're sharing. They have words and a knowledge system far greater than what we could ever imagine. They themselves have been living for over hundreds of millions of years. They went from land to water, or from being all, whatever story that we come up with they are, but they're the ones who are telling us this. And I also use drones. I specifically work up in New South Wales with national parks to ID our southern right whales. We'll have 40,000 humpbacks go up and down because they do loops. People just think they go up and then they come back. No, they go up. Oh, let's that mob back there. I'm going to go back and catch up with them. So 300 kilometres, they'll go back down, then they'll go back up again. So 5, currently on East Coast Australia, there's 5 southern right whales. 2 mums, 2 babies, and 1 who we don't know at the moment because doesn't want to roll over, so we can see. There's some video of which I took just 3 weeks ago with 2 of those. But what I also do is I work with an organisation called ORCA, ORRCA, the Organisation for Rescue and Research of Cetaceans in Australia. I'm the only Aboriginal fella doing this stuff. We're at the front line in East Coast New South Wales, licensed to rescue and research whales, dolphins, seals and dugongs. And I'm the only Aboriginal fella in amongst that. I also sit on the board. I'm the only Aboriginal fella. Before I come along, when unfortunately we had a haul out or a deceased, council comes along and picks it up, off it goes. Now we are starting to bring respect. We're starting to care for them in a way. We're using the voice, the language which they've given us to give blessing to them and give them the respect of who they actually are. And so I'm starting to have that role, and I'll bring that. What I'd like to do is I'm going to actually play something for you, and I'm going to talk through it. So we'll turn the volume down a bit. And this is actually an image out of it. So this one will be number 2. And I'll probably just stand up here a little bit. And this is what I would love to do, is to share this, because this is all of us are talking about this. And everything here is unique. So I was down on the east coast there, and I was about 600 kilometres south, and I got a phone call to say there was a southern right whale, up at a town called Bundle. So I was out mountain biking at the time, so I filled on the car, went and packed my camper up, and off I went, and then ended up at Bundle that afternoon. And when I got there, I was the rescuer assigned to the site to look after what was going on. First off, to find out what was going on. And the first thing I did was put the drone up, and I took it out, and we seen there's a calf there. And this is in water not even 10 metres deep, where they've come into this little bay here at Bundle there, and they've come in the rest. They actually spent 4 days there, and I got to spend 3 of those with them. And you can see they'll come in, they were just staying, they just stayed in their little area, and just caring, looking after the baby is what she was doing. And after a bit, I think you can maybe see what we're seeing up the top there. There's a second mum. And we might see in a moment the calf is going to come through. So we actually have got 2 mums, 2 calves here in this little bay area on the east coast of New South Wales, where they've come in and rested. So one pair kept to the south, and the other pair kept to the north, and this was the first moment they'd actually come together that I'd know of. I've got video of them feeding, and when the mum was expressing the milk out into the water, it's like a yogurt type substance, and the calf would then come in and that. But now what we've got is, we've got the people that live there. Not the people, but we've got the residents, the owners of this country here, the dolphins. They've come in, mokoro. They've come in to say hello. They've come in to make sure they're all right. The southern rights here are the visitors. The dolphins are coming in. They'll let them know if something's going on. The mums and the calves will stay in really close to the shore there, because they're whispering as well. They've got to keep their voices low because of the other predators which are out in the ocean and that, and the orcas going up and down our coast, no different to the west coast. This video footage is extremely unique to be able to obtain for us on the east coast of New South Wales. I think there's about 65 dolphins I counted at one point, all in the frame at once there. But we're here to care for. The southern right whales are named the right whale because they were the right whales to hunt. We have our southern population, the southern hemisphere, and we've got the northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere are actually in an even worse situation than what ours are. We've got to look after them. We've got to look after them. The humpbacks, they're like the rabbits of the ocean, breeding like crazy. But the southern rights, it's a lot harder for them. And they do come back to their place of birth. The mothers, as they are here, they're shown them where all the safe places will be. But they, like the turtles, they get that GPS location locked in. And we can't interfere with that. I could watch this all day and all night. But this is what they're, you know, we're talking, I think, over 55 tonne with that mother there. 55 tonne. You know, when you actually see them straight on, I've been from here to the yellow away from them, and you can put 2 4-wheel drives side by side on them. Humpbacks, they'll fall off because they go like that. But they're just absolutely amazing. And every, the callosities which are on their head, they're a unique fingerprint. That's their unique ID. And that's how we can track them and know. The baby, we'll know when that baby comes back because that fingerprint will stay with them for life. So we can actually look at, with data, how often they're coming back as well. But this is what this is all about. And I'll just get another one for you and share a few of these things and so forth, like I said. But yeah, the thing which actually introduced me to our whales was when I heard the first song, where I actually heard voice. It captured me and it took me, I was just speechless. Yeah, there's actually a video out there which I'm not going to play. I'm an emotional guy, but that's okay. It brings tears to you. Every year when I hear that first song, that new song which comes through with the humpbacks, it's shared with them. Their southern right whales' voices are much quieter because they're very, very protective, whether that's something they've had to learn to do to be quieter, but the humpbacks shout like crazy. So to give you an idea of how well they'll shout, can you flick on number 5 for us, please? The Bemogga gorilla, I think, is the most vocalised land animal. I think that's what it's called, something like that. It's got about 38 vocalisations. The humpbacks have got over 75 plus. I think they're still working it out. 75. Their communication system is that detailed, that intricate. And to hear it and to feel it. Wow. Every time. Yeah.
Wow.
But their voice isn't being heard. Their voice is not being heard. The Southern Right's voice is not being heard. Koontapool. It's not being heard. So it's up to us to also allow them to have their voice, to have their world shown. You know, we live on, you know, just a little snippet of what their world is. And I just want to do my part in being able to capture it. They allow me to do this and to be able to share it because we need these stories to be able to support Yaraan and everyone here in what we need to do, and is that to protect and look after them. And because they're actually there protecting and looking after us. And I think that's something which we've forgotten about. what they actually do play in the world's environment. Look, we talk about saving the Amazon, the humpbacks, the southern rice, put more oxygen into the air than anything else on Earth. So we need them. They can help make a difference themselves as well. There's all sorts of things where everything plays a part, their role in this world which we all live in. Everything's connected. But yeah, I'll just leave with one and then I'll be quiet and I'll finish up. There's no audio on this. I think it's number 3. And this one was, you can just play it. And this was just 3 weeks ago up in Newcastle where they actually came in. So I got my brand new drone. And as you can tell, it's got a pretty damn good zoom on it. And I'm flying at 100 metres up in East Coast, New South Wales. That's what our legal limit is. So don't get any closer. And I was actually there to ID them and to check their health. We can do body, we can look all over their body there, and which is what I'm doing. And so we track these from the top of New South Wales all the way down. We know how many kilometres they were travelling each night because they'd come into the bays and rest during the day and they'd travel at night for safety reasons possibly, I'm not quite sure. But to be able to have the privilege to be able to capture it and share them is what I look forward to being able to do and to continue doing that. But aside from that, I'll always be there on the front line to rescue them. And just flick on the last one and then I'll shut up. Number 1. Last year I got a call. I'm in Newcastle. This is actually down in Ceduna, Fowler's Bay area. And I got told there was a white one. Oh, okay. Filled the car up and off I went, 2,500 kilometres. Drove, because I had to, just for whatever the calling. You can see there's another adult here, another calf as well. There was actually 15 in the bay at the time, but there was this white one. And I just had to go and see. And so I was down there, I met the TOs down there, and they took me out and they said, don't give a shit about any South Australian drone laws. You're getting that in there because that's our family. That's our mothers. That's our aunties. And we need to be able to bring their story back and to be able to share it with our mob there. So they said, get it out there, fly it. So I was out there flying. And but this one here especially. So it's to be able to have the honour to be able to capture them, to let them allow me to be able to capture this to share is pretty special and unique. And if anything, with what I do, other than the rescue stuff with Orca, which is crazy nut stuff, we get the entanglements, we get the, I've been to necropsies. I've worked with the scientists and the veterinarians when they're doing the necropsy, and I'm there to, on their behalf, no matter what, all the way through it, to make sure they're respected all the time, because we need to know what's going on. We need to know if they're, when we have a look and see their ears, their internal ears there, have they been damaged through, on our east coast, we've got to put up with the marine air bases, using bombing and all sorts of things as well. So I'll play all of that part in that space, but play this part to be able to share, because the one thing I do want to hope to do is touch you with their world, their voice, their care. Here we go. He's breaching like crazy, this little one. She's like, Mum, is it okay if I can go over there and play for a little bit? Yeah, go over there. Get away from me. You're annoying me anyway. Keep rubbing up against me, and you're like, you got scratchy face, and just like, leave me alone. Okay, see ya. I'll be back in 10. And I don't know. I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl, that one, but off it goes. And so that's that. That's a little bit. And Vicki, here you go.
Thanks, Daryn. That was pretty super awesome, amazing, and very much we were in their world. Wow. Okay, Ray, your turn. Tell us a bit about yourself and what you're doing in your space over there in the West Coast.
I've got to stand up because it's a bit weird sitting down. Because otherwise I'll just get too nervous and not talk at all. Anyway, I guess before I start, look, Waiba Wandiwa, everyone hello. Before I start, I'd like to, thank traditional custodians from this side of the Ngora and Yaraan, just I can't say what you just said for the country mob. However, biggest love to them all, to our old people, our old people who have paved the way for many, many years before us, all over this continent and globally, for all those who hold a footprint, hold a songline, and carry our songs and stories. To them all, biggest love, and always never to forget them. That's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why I'm here. My name is Raylene Cooper. I'm from Western Australia, up in the Pilbara area. I'm sorry, I got this thing and get nervous now with my mum. Look, today is a big day today. Look, I'm a Mother Thornia custodian. My tribe are saltwater people and inland mob. I also have Goroma Mother Thornia, which is the freshwater side, belonged to my grandmother's side. And on my grandfather's side, with the saltwater mob. A little bit unusual for my family, probably not as unusual. However, back in the day, my old people had decided that for my bloodline to be strong in the weight can carry and deal with what is to come in the future, they basically married two Mother Thornia people together, and I'm one of product of my family bloodline. I also, in the Murujuga area up in the peninsula in Dampier, we have over 100 million, a million petroglyphs. It's all of rock art, sacred site for us. It is our beginning and our creation story. I don't know why I'm feeling really thin. That noise just rattled me right up. So I guess with my Ngora and my people, we hold a big connection to it. Some time ago, I was taken through a cultural law, a big woman's law. Over in our side of the country, it's a big thing. However, it's very quiet, very secret. We practice our culture and our customs every day, all day. Our young boys, the mothers give them to the Ngora as part of our offering and our connection to the Ngora, to the country. Our Baba Mingala, our God, our creation, our creator, he gave us everything what you see here, what we have before us today. In the midst of me going through this really important tradition that we carry, lots of things happen, and although a lot of it has been women's business, I can't talk too much about it. It's brought back a dreaming that was lost for a very long time. And when we wanga about the whales, I hold a big dreaming story for the whales for my Ngora. And we were blessed to come and be invited earlier in the year to be with Jack. I met Jack's dad, Bruce, solid man, deadly man. And I talk of him as a brother. And he came over, we exchanged some really important gifts, and these gifts are spiritual gifts, because we knew one day that we would be here at this point. And what you see here, this beautiful, wonderful creative man has done for us, this is what we fight for. But not only do we fight for that, we fight for these little things here, right here. And it's the future, our future. I can go on and on and on because it's the biggest yarn going, but I'm not gonna. But look, what I will say today, look, Save Our Songlines came about, if anyone wants to look at my very muscly chest. Save Our Songlines come about. Look, I've been a part of an organisation called Murujuga, and this sits, and it's basically relevant for all the rock art. We were given an opportunity to take care of this place. However, state government back in the year 2001 actually, they orchestrated and narrated an agreement. This agreement's called the BIMIA Agreement, and it is the Burrup Industrial Maitland Estate Agreement. And it was that within the agreement that the state was allowed to just walk in and take our ngora, sacred land. It was an acquisition and gave us a 99-year lease. Quite laughable, hey, since we were the first ones here. But in saying that, I was involved in this organisation, me thinking that it was set up to look after the place as custodians, because this organisation, Murujuga, it consists of 3 contractual parties. One of them, and mine, is Yaraan Bundle, Nalamainjabarni and the Wangatu people. 2 of those names that I had said, they do not exist. The Yaraan people are bloodline family connected to myself and my family. The Nalama people, the Motherdonia people and the Yaraan people are saltwater mob. So we have a Galada law, saltwater law, with our 4 kinship systems. Unfortunately for us, the state government has realised that there's money to be made in our country. And not saying that things are different here on the East Coast, up in the Northern Territory, because we're all getting hammered by government decisions, decision makers, and also those custodians who really have lost their way. And I will say it because we're on a significant cultural land. My country has been nominated for UNESCO World Heritage nomination, and I was a big part of this, and it all fell sideways. And it fell sideways because of our agreements. This agreement, the BIMI agreement I talk about, there are 2 clauses in this agreement that I find highly insulting, and it takes away my privilege. It takes away my honour. It takes away my identity. In these clauses, it's at 4.6 in this BIMI agreement, it states that the 3 contractual parties cannot object to anything that happens on that land. So right now, currently, Woodside, this is on one area, mind you, Woodside, the LNG project, Pluto, and the gas plant, all Woodside. 463 kilometres out, on the bottom of the ocean, is a pipeline that goes to a place called Northwest Shelf Venture. It consists of those big names, Chevron, BHP, Woodside, and obviously you've heard BHP has sold its shares. Right? So in saying that, look, this is what we're dealing with. Now they want to develop and add on to these projects. So they're saying they're add-ons onto these trains. They're actually full-blown projects. They're not add-ons. The Northwest Shelf Venture, it sits on a platform, off the ocean, and it sucks everything out of the ground. They want to extend this and make another platform. And they want to extend that. Well, they have. The government has extended it, given that we have the climate crisis going on and our global warming is quite critical right now. But they've extended it to 2070. I don't know how they even work that out. I mean, there's supposed to be some intelligent people in there that run our country. Doesn't make any sense to me. With that, in saying that, they want to put another pipeline in. It's already dangerous. The seismic testing, as of this, so look, Save Our Songline started. I walked away from the organisation. Basically, told them, well, put it this way, and a lot of these people in my family, mind you, my oldest son sits on the board, and we have that understanding because I need someone to tell me what this company is doing. This is my organisation that the government gave to us. We didn't want it. They made us take it. They just said, here, here's $4 million, do something with it. So 4 land groups, right, 5 land groups got together and they all binyardi, meaning for 10 years they all fought over what they were going to do with this $4 million. Right? Finally, something happened and we start getting traction. Everything's going good. Mark McGowan, the ex-premier, turns around and says, right, we're going to give you World Heritage nomination. Now, if Mangura was deserving of World Heritage nomination, why the hell are they destroying it? I don't understand it. Forgive me if my intellect doesn't give me an understanding of it, because it actually doesn't make any sense. And I reckon I spagged it pretty much, and I reckon, right, that's it. It's not happening. And in the meantime, while this Woodside projects are getting expanded, they're now taking away December last year, while we're on the Tiwi Islands meeting all them country mob there that are fighting Barossa and Santos over there. Mark McGowan came along with all these little minions, and they removed 3 ancient rock arts. 3 of them very significant, one of them being my grandfather was the last man who sang the Munda, the rock, which is a fishing song, a netting song. That netting song is a song that attaches the whole of Australia and beyond to that place. So the song lines travel. They travel under the water. They travel in our earth. It's like the blood vessels of our Mother Earth. The water that we're seeing now, it has it's like electricity in it, yeah? And it's a conductor of electricity. So those song lines that we sing, that's why I had to leave the room when the noise come on. So the song lines, it's also frequencies. When the whales sing and they talk, they ain't having a conversation, they yarn. They wonga and telling everybody how things going, what's going on, da-da-da. But it's the frequencies. So with the gifts I hold, I have an understanding and a connection to the Ngura where I can read the rock art. So in the 60s, some archaeologists went out there, they drilled a hole through one of the rock art, and they actually tested it all, and it's actually got human DNA in it. I hold that DNA, myself and my family. So when we talk about a footprint, when you're building a house or you're building a building, you've got to have a blueprint, right? We hold a blueprint and a footprint to that place. And so thus, we have a big connection to the Ngura and those rock arts, and we can tell you everything about it. These individuals here following us around, you know, we want to document our story. This story has been lost for a long time. And this is what we say when we talk about saving the songlines, because it's about our Mother Earth. You know, none of you would have anyone hurt your mum, hey? No one. You know, you'd always be protecting your mother, no matter at all costs. And you know what? This is the time now, and we're all doing it, and everyone's waking up. And this is a big awakening, because you look around the world. Like, I came back from Canada last year, right? It was, when I left there, it was just starting to get on fire. It's now the whole of the British Columbia is on fire, and water is everywhere. You know, in the European, like, there's some major things happening. And if you didn't see it on the news a couple of weeks back, probably about 3 weeks ago, in Esperance and down southwestern Australia. It was a very traumatic event that happened, and almost 80 whales, they had suffered. And the very same day I was having a meeting with NOPSEMA, the oil and gas regulators, who actually need to be regulated, and saying that it was the best question that was asked that day of us, and it was, what's going to happen to the whales? And I got really emotional about it, and it was like, they're going to die. Why are they going to die? Because the whales are trying to get out of the water, all right? So the frequencies that they hold, when you talk about seismic testing, blasting, because that's exactly what it is, all right? The frequencies, all right, and the decimals that come from that noise is the same decimals that the whales have. So when the whales are hearing this and that blasting is happening, they're disorientated. I don't know if any of you have been, well, most of you all live off the coast or whatever, with the ocean. You know, if you've ever been dunked by the ocean, by the wave, and you're in there and you're trying to work and figure out which is up and down, right? That's exactly what's going on with them. They're disorientated. There's too much white noise going on in their world, and their world is in the water. These beautiful, majestic animals are trying to get out of the water to survive, and so they do. Excuse me. So a week I bawled my eyes out, because that very day I was telling this woman, this is what's going to happen, and it did. Because, you know, the decimals of this noise and the whales they're calling in their communication, it goes 1,600 plus Ks. Where they're going to do their testing, the seismic testing, it's 25 Ks from where their migration routes are, which can also include the turtles, every marine creature you can think of. Because the whales for us, they come from the stars. That's where they come from. Because they hold the biggest dreaming stories, they hold all of them. Because it's our biggest animal on this planet. So it is devastating, and it's crucial right now that we all come together and band together for this one thing, and it's for the future. If they're crying out for help and they're telling us there's something wrong with them, then there's something wrong with us. Because if they don't survive, we're not going to survive. And that's just plain as simple as it is. And my job as a custodian who holds a footprint for Mangora and ancient songlines is to protect everything. And that's what we do. And that's why we're all here today, and that's why you guys are all here today. Because you're worried and you're concerned. But you know what? It only takes a couple of people, and then to spread the word. Because for those who are wakening up, all right, we're the ones going to be here. We're the ones that are still going to be here. But when this time goes, the next evolution, the next millennium, we're going to be there. And we know it's going to be different. But right now, we've got to think about this place, currently in the present. When you wake up in the morning, you put your dinner on the water, and you give all the love you have, because we've taken so much, we need to give back, and that's all she wants. So I guess with that, and this beautiful baby I got a chance to hold on to because she's gone really fat. Look, today, as of 3 weeks ago, because I'm crazy, I went and spoke to some, my legals, and without even thinking a heartbeat, I basically said, just do it. I want to take them on. I'll challenge them. So 3 Woodside. So I'm challenging the recommendations that NOPSEMA gave to us after the meeting that they come to the Ngora. The women were beautiful, lovely women. Unfortunately, they have a crap job. But in saying that, They'd given us recommendations. I think the best one is that we could oversee the life of the project. And it's like, okay, let us really read this. So we've taken the challenge on. Myself, not Save Our Songlines, and I'm going to challenge Woodside and I'm going to challenge NOPSEMA in terms of, you know, this seismic testing. Today, that's another challenge for NOPSEMA. Today, I had one go with my legals. They've been basically notified myself that Woodside as of Friday, they've given us 48 hours. Given that there's a Section 10 out there with Tanya Pilbasek, wherever she is, I'll chase her around as well. Tried to chase the Prime Minister. He was at Rio and we were doing a bit of a voodoo dance, me and my sister. And so he took off and never even came back. So we're just being stalkers at the moment. But anyway, in saying that, it's funny, they go and see all the big companies, but they don't come and see the grassroots. It's crazy. But look, in saying that, we got the notification today that they've given us 48 hours, Woodside, to start their destructive blasting to all our, you know, family, all the animals, all the beautiful creatures that we want our babies and all our rest of our future to see. But I can't talk too much about that because there's secrets, things are happening in the background. Look, we've been here for a long time and we're not looking in a hurry to move from where we are. And all I want to say is to Yarraan's sister and auntie uncle, Jack, thank you very much for your little present today. You know, for you all, you are leaders in the eyes of everybody. And the love grows stronger and stronger from all parts of the world. Everyone's looking at us all. And you know what? We were brought here for a reason. And this is the time we do it. And I love you guys for all the efforts and everything you guys have done. Brilliant, brilliant work. Spread the word, everybody. We're coming. And
shut them down.
Shut them all down. And look, again, get on the web. Look, I'm not into Facebook stuff. I don't even want to go there. So look, please, if you want to know anything more about Save Our Songlines, get on the web, check it out. Lots more coming. Like lots. I need a lot of sleep right now. But anyway, good luck to everybody. And yeah, God bless you all. Thank you all for coming and supporting all the country mob and what they're doing. Woo!
And thank you so much, sister girl. Beautiful. And you have the privilege of following that, Jack, with your story now, which I'm really excited to be hearing.
I made a mistake going last, didn't I? Like, I thought I'd be tricky and work out what I was
From
going to
Rob,
say.
yeah.
Well,
You're second last.
I can relax then. So I'm nominally a wildlife biologist, but I don't think I'll speak about that tonight. I'll speak about responsibility. I think mob around the country have been pigeonholed in speaking about rights all the time, and no one here's spoken about rights tonight. We've all spoken about responsibility, and that is actually the essence of our culture as it's been handed down to us from our elders. And I was given men's law from Uncle Max when he brought it back onto the east coast of Australia with some elders from Dungutty and Gunai, and Uncle Max was a pretty special old fella, and he'd gone through with his law in the old way, and that had come down through his 5 Grand Masters, and it's a great privilege to be a part of that old transmission of culture. And his motto, and he was a cheeky old bugger, but all he would always talk about was in order to keep this culture, we have to give it away. We have to give it away to keep it. We can't just keep it amongst the few of us who know it now, because our time will come and we will pass and we'll take it with us. And the earth cannot afford, the Minga cannot afford for us old people to pass without passing these lessons on to the next generations. Be they black, white, brindle. There's plenty of Cornwall in me, look at me. That's not the relevant part. And so I'm going to, because of that, in his tradition, and he told this story everywhere, so I will tell it tonight, and it's a story he used to call about the promise, and it goes back to responsibility. And it's about Gurrul. So our songline, Gurrul's songline, is the humpbacks, and they obviously split. We know their migratory paths. They go up and down the east and west coasts of Australia every year. And but Gurrul started as a land animal, as a land being, and he and she went to the elders and said, we want to live in the ocean. We want to be out there in Gadu. And the elders thought about it for a long time, and they said, all right, you can do that, but under a couple of conditions. You have to hold your law in the ocean forever, and then from time to time you bring it back. You bring yourself onto the beach and you bring it back to the people as an offering, so that we keep all of law together for the people and for country. And so that was the promise of Gurrul. And he did that year in, year out, and he'd bring his body back to the people to hold the law as part of his responsibility. And in that way, both the land and the sea laws were kept strong. But Gurrul and the people, our ancestral story is that we weren't on Yuin country to begin with. We were far to the south, in a cold place, far to the south, in our own country, and sea level rose. And the people were stuck in Gadu and were confused. People didn't know what to do. And the whale, Gurrul, remembered his old promise. And he came up to the people in great confusion and said, you follow my bubbles and I will show you the way to go. And those old sites, there are sites in Tasmania that show the transmission of where Yuin people have come from, because they followed that path. And from a story that one of his elders told him, Uncle Max was able to find one of those sites from a description. Now everyone knows when the sea level came up and isolated Tasmania from the mainland, that's a long time for stories to be passed down in perpetuity, really. So in our time of need, Gurrul came and saved the people and led them to land and gave some great lessons. They said, you are going to have to go to a new bit of country and you will have nothing to offer those people that are already living there. So you'll have to go there with great respect and be humble. And so the people did that. They took that lesson on and they went into their new land and they were humble. Can you imagine people moving to a new bit of country now and being humble about it? They'd probably come with rifles, right? But that's what Gurrul did for the people in their time of need. That is responsibility, that is reciprocal care, that is our culture. And so in their time of need, all of us, knowing that story, knowing what Gurrul did for us when we needed them, can we turn our back on them? That is our responsibility to kin and to country. We actually don't need to speak about rights and whose right it is to do this or whose right it is to do that. We need to start thinking about our responsibility to the planetary commons, I did manage to work it in eventually. But they're really simple things. We don't have to live like the way we do, with a closed heart and a closed mind. They're choices that we make individually each day. The world is like that, set up and arrayed against us to convince us all the time that this is how we live now. But we don't have to, as individuals, live like that. And if there's enough of us, we change things. And we have to push back like Aunt's doing. Like, what a ridiculous thing to do to country, like Yaraan is. I used to ring Uncle Max quite a lot, and I had lots of, I work with fire quite a little. I've been burning country for a long time. I kept trying to convince him to tell me He had a couple of stories. He did eventually tell me. I kept trying to convince him to give me stories. I wasn't being patient, tolerant or respectful, which was his other thing. He wouldn't give it to me until I shut up, really. But I did tell him, this Yaraan, she's, been fighting this good fight down south for Koontapool, and she's been talking about bringing all the mobs from all the whale songlines together to support things. And, when you gave a suggestion to Unc, he'd often give you fuck all, really, to be honest, and then you'd have to work out what you were supposed to do. But he just went dead silent and said, yeah, you got to help do that, because that's the promise, right? And so we did gather. Aunt and Yaraan were sent out the message for mobs to come that held whale law and to come together, and we gathered in Bundle country, which is where I've always lived. And I think there were 90 people gathered to discuss what we can do to protect those old songlines. And so we will do that, and we'll go forth and we'll protect those songlines, and the most important thing is we'll support each other to do it, because it's an old story, but we're at a point in this world together where if we don't start to make some serious decisions about how we are going to move through it, what are we going to do, swimming slowly, we're in a significant strife. But as Aunt says, people are waking up, they're opening their hearts, and with that will come open minds, and we need to move together, forward together, and we will. Natcha Tangunga, Ula Mother.
Thank you, Jack. Such wisdom we're hearing, such love, and I'm a bit lost for words and don't really want to be the facilitator anymore. But our number 19 grandchild, our granddaughter Wara, is having a great conversation with her grandfather. Yeah, maybe I'll give her the mic. But before that, maybe her Napun, her grandfather, who's been patiently waiting, can contribute some more from his beautiful songs before to this yarn, because I think we've been hearing all of the ways in which I think the world is seeking to come together, to care, and to make our beautiful Mother Earth strong. Or she's strong anyway, probably doesn't really need us, but so I'm going to hand over to Rob, who can bring his perspective. Oh, he's got a mic there. Go.
Hey folks, it's so great that you can make it tonight and to hear some amazing stories coming from the depths of all of our hearts and souls and minds, body, soul and spirit, to be able to enhance what we already have and already know, and to be able to be in a reciprocal position to be feeling the love and all of that. It's always the best notion of what can be carried forward by what you learn from your past and you growing up, and as children, wherever you are, however old you are, however young you are, to be able to have the capacity to always learn. And I think that's what holds us in really good stead, to be able to find the right mechanism and the right change, and to coin a phrase, it's about that in-depth frequency that is eternal. And from the celestial point of view, it's really interesting, and from the ancestral lines and the notations of all of the great storytellers that have ever been since creation have slowly given us the right tools to be able to take the path and take the story into another realm where it says this is how you can find the right solutions and answers to all of the problems that you may have been encountering since the world began to usher in change and trying to find the modern alliances with humans and how humans behave and what their capacity is to absorb so many things. I just want to say, Darren, that what I saw and witnessed in these amazing films that you've captured is just so heartwarming, and to be, it's an expression of love of what they're offering, and as what each of you three have offered, and Yaraan, and what you offer, and Vic, and what you offer, as the ears and the minds to be able to take this conversation back to another place. There's a little story. My grandfather, I grew up on a mission. There she is. That's Warre. On the south coast in Yaraan country. And as a child, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. And he was this really massive, big Welsh man. And he had an Aboriginal mother too, but his father was Welsh. And he was a beautiful soul, and he died at 104, and I was quite young. And we used to go out in the little boats and go fishing and things like that. And he was the harpoonist on the longboats. And they'd hunt for whales in Twofold Bay in Eden. And his job, and all they had was to tell a story with the orcas, and the orcas were demonised as being these really horrible creatures that shallowed the bigger whales into the bay and took them out, and with the assistance of the harpoonist, which was my grandfather. So that in context really enabled me to take some inkling of what I needed to be able to be doing with my family and my friends and colleagues as I grew up in the world until now, to this point with my grandchildren. That's right, Pop. Yeah, hey, Maoris. She's rousing. Yes. So that little story, that anecdotal story, just relates to of how you can change in midstream about something that you're so compassionate about. And I just see that compassion in my daughter, Yaraan, with SOPEC, and all of her great friends, and two amazing friends on the front here, which are our family, and Freya, wherever you are, there you are over there, and Ruthie. And so it's really, it's a beautiful thing that to usher in, because it's primary, it's an organic thing that grows when every single baby that's born on the planet, and every time a little one comes in from the whale community, that signals in such incredible change and ushering in a whole nother world and a whole nother language that's ensured, that tells the next generation, almost 5 generations ahead, about what's coming and what's been. Yeah. So we have an obligation now and a commitment and a duty, and it's a moral duty of care, and one we take with heart and soul, and to be able to be in positions of change, and through song, through the song lines of old and the song lines that we do now with our dance and our prayers, and how we take that online and on board for the generations to come. I certainly hope there's some questions that would come to the panel. Well, you can.
Oh, I don't want to interrupt. I was just reminding what Dad, sister girl, baby's got something to say. Hey, tell Whoopi. It's like, oh, I'll eat it. Her name is Warre, and that means ocean in the Djapurrung language. And so what Jack was saying before about, you know, where the people walked from and were connected before the land bridge was, you know, taken over by the salt water, the ocean used to be up on Djapurrung country as well. And the Djapurrung birthing trees is another fight that I've been a part of. And my daughter Yarani, up the back there, or in the middle there, she was part of that creation business through Djapurrung. And so when I knew this little one was coming along, I found, just so happened when I was mukoin, when I was pregnant, I found this old language, and this language name meant ocean, and it's an old vibration, like what Ray mentioned about the frequencies. And so when you say her name, Ware Nawa, Ware Nawa. She likes hearing her name.
And the rest of her name is Zelda Vicky, I'll just add.
Of course. Nan finally got her namesake. But what that means is that, you know, throughout the time that I was mokoin and that we were doing, she was actually conceived in the time that I was doing whale ceremony last year. And so what, you know, Dad just mentioned about, what Dad just mentioned about, you know, our responsibility for the next generations, you know, so not on our watch, like none of this should happen on our watch. We can't leave you know, a broken, polluted world for our children. And to give everybody hope in that sense that, you know, the whales were actually my midwives, and we were part of theirs. And that's part of the Gunditjmara story. And so, you know, this little baby, you know, she's very special, and she carries the future of part of that Gunditj whale dreaming. What was that? I love you. And that message of the Koontapool, unconditional love and connection, you know, for the whole earth, and, you know, the mother and this land, sky and sea, and how that interconnects. But that, you know, to give everyone hope that you know, powerful dreaming is still here. It's never been lost, and it's continuing on. And so we've got to help make that connection stronger.
Beautiful. And just to add to that, I think there's a really, because the notion of that you can't do anything remains null and void, because the thing is that you're born to do everything, right? And what you have before you is a challenge, and you're tasked with that challenge of being able to make that, you know, that monumental change that requires the shifting of paradigms and into the spaces of the mindset where people lord it over and run the whole dynamic of what the world is all about. I've seen it, and it's not a good outcome. And I think everybody, every single one of you can attest to, you know, experiencing your own form of you know, being stopped at the door and said, no, you can't come through here because you're this or you're that, or you're different, or you think different, or you're a different colour creed. And the whole human family is made up of so many things that are so important, from the celestial dreamings all the way. And that's why the whale dreaming is so important. And we want to be able to be in a position now to really focus on the good intent and the goodwill, because if you're offering goodwill, you will prosper, no doubt in my mind. But if it's the other way around, then, you know, that's an uphill struggle. So if you're putting it out there, put it out there in volumes, you know, that this whole place is just, it's not a playground for anybody to be able to, do what they will with it. It's about sharing what that is. It's old cliche stuff, but it's the truth. And I think with the songline and the whale dreaming has the capacity to heal so many things that we, have found wanting and found lacking as we head towards, another millennia, and so the children of these ones here, of their ages now, for the next 5 ahead, you have to now consider what that will be like. So all of the process of what the big multinational companies have been on about and trying to find, all of the changes that are going on happen in your own communities. They happen in the playgrounds, they happen with the schools, and they happen, in universities, and they happen on the streets, so it's that constant giving. If you've got, a situation where it requires constant vigilance in having that, and I think that's what everyone has spoken about, that constant vigilance to be really, because again, the big stick has always not been the case. It's about, saying this is where this story starts and this is where this story doesn't finish. It just keeps going on forever. So the earth will do what it needs to do. Mother will do what she feels she will do, and with an assistance from all and everyone that wants to do their little bit for the planet. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
Always words of wisdom and insightful messages and knowledge for us. We probably do, I don't know, any of the panelists you guys want to ask each other anything?
I just want to ask you when you're going for your next trip, because I'm coming.
We all are.
We need a bigger boat.
Yes.
Everyone's always invited, and it's to have. I actually a video which I couldn't share with you because we couldn't download it in time, and that is where I've actually got my arm over the water, over the side of the boat. I've got a GoPro in my hand, and I've got a baby just an inch off the camera. I've had to pull it away, and you can hear the mum and the baby whispering amongst one another there. But just one thing I just wanted to add on this particular one up here is that they know we're here and they know we're looking after them. And I mentioned earlier that I'd spent 3 days, 3 days with them, and they were there for 4 days, and I spent 3 days with them. On the 4th morning, I had to leave at 9 a.m. to get back home to go to work. And I'd been there with the 3 days, and at this little beautiful area, this little this spot in the bush there on the trail overlooking them the whole time. And I got there at about 7:30 a.m. on that last morning, on that Monday morning there, and I was the only one there. And I just stayed with them, and this particular mum and baby there, I don't like to call them calf actually, I don't like that. But the mum and the baby, Dungan and Burbur, were there just laying there. They were quiet, just laying there, hardly even moving. They were just in the one spot there. I don't even know if the mum was there rubbing her belly, but it was time for me to go, and I do what we do. I turned around and thanked the trees and the sand and the flowers for helping me, allowing me to be there, to look after them, to oversee them, to keep the public away, but just to make sure they were okay. And it was at that moment the baby lifted up its head and splashed it on the water. The mum rolled onto her side and lifted her peck up. And I just did anyone see that? Please, it was okay, because I know, and they know we're here. I'm still, that moment, they know we're here.
Yeah.
And as much as we need them, they also need us. And it's just something I just wanted to share from that little bit there. Yeah.
Hey, you just reminded me of, I don't know, did you guys see that footage on that Esperance thing? You know, down all that? You see the big...
Yeah.
See, that's their communication to us. They're telling us how much they love us, but they're also telling us you need to love us back. So when Jack's dad, when he met up in Karratha and that there, so we exchanged some spiritual gifts, and, you know, for whatever reason, you know, we had to, and it was actually, they came to Murajuga to have a wanga with us, and it was about the yams, isn't it? When your dad come up. So it was just an interesting concept when he come there, but I felt something really different. And anyway, my mum's younger sister, Joyce over there behind everyone, Mum Joyce, just wave your hand up. So that's my mum's younger sister. So Joyce and I are actually the same age. And it's just weird. She looks great for a mum, hey, at my age. But look, just now, and definitely we certainly got to exchange some big gifts. Oh, hi, baby. Are you looking at me? Yeah. She always loves yarning with me. Must be my big round face or something. But anyway, look, same thing with Yaraan. Our job is to make sure the song lines are intact. That's a big, big thing, because, you know, song lines, there's no story, there's no dance, no song. And it all is connected to the ngora, everything, to Mother Earth, and being light people, which we are. But yeah, I just sort of went to give, you know, Jack a bit of a tap, and it was like, and so the most beautiful thing happened, and maybe not so beautiful for me, it can be physically demanding in a lot of the work we do. But we exchanged gifts. So when we left here, went back home, do all our stuff, you know what we do, fight, talk to the Ngora mob, talk to the people, fight the government, come back. So we brought something back, an exchange. And that's what you call creating a songline and keeping it going. So it is a spiritual energy that keeps us all alive, and we all have it. Every single one of us. Tap into it, bring out the love, and always remember to breathe.
That, I'm glad you told it better than I would. But the restoring those connections, it sounds maybe a bit esoteric, but it's the old people always did it, and it stopped for a while through, we know, colonialism. That's right. And some of those elders that have come before us have done a lot of groundwork on bringing those stories back together, and that's what that was. It's like a jigsaw going clonk back into place. And, you know, Uncle Max's second half of his life was about connecting the East and West humpback whale songlines together. And we know the bits of the story that are missing, and they slowly back together. And we know that when that songline's complete, who's going to fucking tell us, no, you can't do that to protect your sea country? Who would stand in the way of that? You know, it won't happen anymore. So when that connection is there, it will carry the day.
I just wanted to say, without that song and dance and that story, you know, we come from the first sunrise and the first sound and that frequency. So without that, you know, language, there's no song. And so we're trying to, revive and protect the sea country languages, and we're trying to honour our connection to our kin and, honour the language that they're speaking. And some of the stories that I've heard are about those white spirit beings, like that little white whale that we've seen. And more as climate change affects, the whole mother, more and more these white animals are starting to show themselves and starting to make that that frequency, in our face again. And so we have to try and interpret, what they're saying and, honour those languages, just like heaps of our languages that have been lost, through colonisation and, the ongoing cultural genocide and ecocide that we're living through now. We have to learn to navigate that. And so when people say, oh wow, the whales are here, and this is a great bumper whale season and it's awesome, and I go, hold on, you mob, that's because the song is strong again. And so we're working towards making that song really, really strong. And basically no government, no corporation, no one. It's unbreakable, especially when they don't understand it properly. And, we're trying to, through that fight for survival, we're still generous enough to, share these ancient knowledge systems with the world, but also trying to get people to understand, why we need to protect them. So, yeah, thank you for everyone and their, connection and all the words that they've spoken, because it's just part of that fight that we're actually going to win.
Okay, probably one more. Oh, come on, Josie, Alec, come on down.
All right, I'm not free. Thank you for bringing us here, all the way from over there to fight the good fight. It's beautiful to be here. I'm Ray's auntie, Mum Jo's, MJ, and offering, and we've been talking a lot about songlines and frequencies and whale dreaming and all the dreaming of all the animals and plants, and that's what it's all about. And when we talk about commonality and things in common, right? Water and air. They're contaminating our water. They're polluting our air. Me, you, these babies, all of us. That's what we all have in common. Things like this, go ahead. Things like fracking, pulling things out of the ground, all that stuff. That's all common. We have that in common. Because when they do that, it affects every single one of us. Because we all got to get up and put our feet on Mother Earth every day. And when the songline is shaky, we shake. So when the songline is steady and it flows, we flow. Just like them. That's what they're trying to tell us. So that's the commonality about everything. So with that, here's a song I'm going to sing for you. Yeah. And it's in my language. It's Nalamo and Injabani. So it is a song that we rewrote with my old girls for a play that we did, Hip Bone Sticking Out, which is what Murajuga means. And that's the Burrup Peninsula where we are from, and it holds all the rock art. And so we sort of remastered this song, I suppose, in those two languages. So try and figure out what it is, eh? Here we go. Nyendo anyari wangayala weru wani umbayala jawala wala wanga barigu wanga bijari wangandangu Jeremiah Wangagu. Binagati, 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 ah. Wimbama, 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 ah. Yala wira, bingaliwa, wanga wiruani, yala. Yala wira, bingaliwa, wanga wiruani, yala. Wanga wiruani, yala. Talking about a revolution, oh, oh.
Thank you. And good night.